Listen to part of a lecture in a psychology class.
So we've established that there's this strong connection between emotions and memories. Now, quite a bit of research has gone into investigating the connection. One study, conducted by a research team at Harvard, looked at how emotions affect how much we remember, how many details of a memory we're able to remember. In the study, volunteers were shown a series of pictures. Some were positive images, like a child smiling, some were negative, and some were just neutral. Can anyone guess which images were the easiest to remember? Robert?
The most positive and negative images? The ones that triggered the strongest emotional responses?
Right. Those images that generated a more extreme emotional response, positive or negative. They were easier to recall than the neutral images. Pretty intuitive, right? But the scientists also found that people remember more details from a negative image than they do from a positive one.
How come?
Well, we think it's rooted in how we respond to highly stressful or dangerous situations. By remembering a negative event in detail, well, those details might be really helpful if someday you're faced with a similar situation.
I think I know what you mean. When I was younger, I was climbing a ladder and one of the rungs was wet and I nearly slipped and fell. I remember just how scared I felt, and I can still see the little beads of water on that step.
And I bet you're careful around ladders to this day, aren't you? Now, another question that researchers have focused on is, are there specific areas of the brain associated with different emotional states? One neuroscientist, Antonio Damasio, tested this idea. Damasio hypothesized that different emotions would trigger activity in different parts of the brain. To test his hypothesis, a team of researchers hooked up some volunteers to brain scanning equipment and asked them to relive, some intense memories, like the elation they felt on graduation day. And the results supported Damasio's hypothesis. Remembering a happy event did indeed activate one area of the brain, while remembering a sad event activated another. This finding, that emotions of a specific type are associated with a specific brain region, may help explain why, when you're feeling a certain way, the brain will activate memories of past situations associated with that particular feeling, a phenomenon we call mood congruity. Congruity means something like harmony between two things. So, mood congruity works like this. If you're feeling happy, it's more likely that your brain will call up pleasant memories, like that wonderful beach vacation you took last year, which of course just reinforces your happy mood. The brain is wired to support your mood. It's not going to try to balance or temper it by producing memories that aren't consistent with the way you're feeling at that moment. But going back to Damasio's team's experiment, there was one result that was unexpected, and they discovered it when they looked at the scans of one particular region, the volunteers' prefrontal cortices. Okay, who can tell me what they know about the prefrontal cortex?
That's the very front of the brain. It's associated with generating ideas, right? With our capacity for creative thought?
Yes, among other things. Well, what the researchers learned from the volunteers' brain scans was that when you're happy, your prefrontal cortex is extremely active. But if you're depressed, your prefrontal cortex slows down. It doesn't generate as many thoughts as it normally would. So there's something about being sad, some change in the way the brain functions that diminishes the output from the prefrontal cortex. Now, that sounds like bad news, doesn't it? Except, well, this writer, Stephen Johnson, who writes popular books about the brain, has an interesting insight about this. He said that he was actually relieved to read Damasio's unexpected finding. You see, Johnson says that whenever he felt sad, he stopped having interesting thoughts and ideas. He didn't feel creative at all. His lack of productivity made him feel even worse, which in turn, of course, prolonged his bad mood. Damasio's finding made Johnson realize that his prefrontal cortex was just responding temporarily to his negative state of mind. So now he just reminds himself that his creativity will return once his mood improves.